Today we're going to be looking at 5 of my favorite magic sleights using a deck of cards. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time to day 130 of my 365 days of magic challenge. Today's topic is sleight of hand. However, before we get to that, let me do a quick magic trick. The magic trick for day 130 uses these 3 red spot cards and the 4 kings, the king of clubs, hearts, diamonds, and spades. These kings are actually so important that if you place them on the table individually, they actually rise above the other spot cards one at a time. Of course, the first one goes here and it rises all the way to the very top because it's so important it must be on top. The second king does the exact same thing, it rises all the way to the top, gone from the bottom of the packet. The third king with all 3 spot cards on top rises all the way, rising above the cards to dominate over them. And then the last king is actually the most egotistical because it doesn't even want to touch the spot cards. It actually just joins over here with all of its king buddies, leaving the spot cards alone and frozen in the dark. And that is the trick for day 130. What an interesting plot. That trick is called Mic Elevator and it can be found in Principia by Harapan Ong. Today's sleights are in no particular order. I didn't quite know how to rank them considering there'll be a lot of factors to take into consideration. Difficulty, practicality, just however I'm feeling. And the number 1 slot would of course be taken up, knowing me, by Raise Rise. Technically, Raise Rise is the effect of the card rising up through the deck, the handling of which I learnt from Xavier Spade. Which is an adaptation and slight, definitely pun intended, handling of Ray Cosby's original effect. Technically, the sleight is called the Ambitious Riser, and there's a multitude of things you can actually do with it. I typically only do Raise Rise with it, although there are a few routines that I do eventually want to learn. I just haven't taken the time to in all of the years that I've been doing it. Whoops. Although Raise Rise is a difficult thing to learn, it is actually practical and can be performed in real life. Although that time might be better suited to learning a multitude of other sleights that give you a lot more range in card magic. Whoops. Full disclaimer, I will not be teaching any of the sleights in this video. They are all available to be bought from the creators themselves, and I'll leave links in the description below if you wish to support the creator and take the time to learn these moves. Next up, we have quite a well-known move in card magic called the Clip Shift by Chad Nelson. Now, this is a move that I do use in real life, but I typically only use it as a control. And not as a color change or anything. I am actually quite happy with the state of my clip shift, although I am always practicing it and trying to get it better, always slightly improving it. Yeah, that pun really wasn't intended that time. Moving on. Speaking of controls, one of my favorites is the turnover pass. This is a very practical control for me and I really like how it looks both on camera and in real life. I get a lot of use out of this control in effects such as Ambitious card, as well as it being quite a key component in the Smiling Mule card trick. An interesting point I'd like to add is that despite me doing some of these more difficult sleights, I don't always use them and they're not always completely practical for these situations. So things like double undercuts I still use a lot, especially when street performing. Watching those angles. Why did I wink? Ooh. Number 4 on the list is a move called the Hop card, which is a name that I've only just recently learned. It's a sleight I've been doing for quite a while. Thank you very much, Omer or More Than Cards, for helping me with the crediting on that one. It is a move called the Hop card and it is by Richard Bartram. Wait, hold up. By Richard Bartram Jr. And it's a nice fancy production of being able to spin a card out of the center of the deck. That was the first variation printed, just spinning it straight out onto a table or onto a surface basically. There is a couple of variations where you can spin it out and catch it in the center of the deck. or you can spin it out, slam the deck back together, and catch it in the other hand, which actually isn't that much difficult, but it makes it look like an impressive sleight and feat of skill. So that's probably one of my favorite productions of a playing card, and is very practical and not too difficult to learn. And last but not least is a Sleight by Jack Carpenter, sorry. And last but not least is a Sleight by Jack Carpenter, taught on a Vanishing Ink download called Techno Pop. Now, Techno Pop is a very fancy production of a playing card that seems to come from the center of the deck of cards. It can then be shown coming from the center of the deck of cards, which is a very nice touch, and I very much like it, especially as a single card production. Something I've been playing around with for quite a while is a multi-card change of it. So it produces one card, it changes into another card, and then it changes back into that original card. Yeah. That is not actually a handling that is taught on the download. It is something I came up with after seeing someone else do it in like some random video. I have no idea where from, and it wasn't actually taught. I just kind of figured it out, and that's how I do it mechanically. However, the download does cover a multitude of variations using the move Techno Pop, like producing multiple cards from a fan, and something that I am currently in the process of learning, a one-handed color change. So I apologize if that one-handed change isn't quite up to scratch yet, I am still learning it. But if you'd like to learn some knuckle-busting sleight of hand, I highly recommend the Jack Carpenter Techno Pop download. It has a multitude of effects using the move as well, which is a great addition. So that is it for 5 of my favorite sleights using a deck of playing cards. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow in day 131.